Morning guys, welcome back to The Rustic Wife. I'm Alana. So it's Saturday morning. I'm trying to be a little bit quiet because everyone's still asleep, but I actually have to work this morning. So I thought I'd get up and make some ham and cheddar biscuits before I have to go in. Oh, and I will brush my hair before I go in too. Okay, I've got my ingredients already here. I've got 2 cups of flour. I've shredded some sharp cheddar cheese. I also had some grated Parmesan that I had left over from supper the other night that I threw in there too. I've also got some ham. I had some ham left over and I diced that up nice and fine, but you can make it however you want. You can also use crumbled bacon or crumbled cooked sausage or even diced kielbasa, anything. I've also got some baking powder, salt, a bit of buttermilk to brush on the tops, and I also have my butter that's in the freezer right now because I want to keep it cold because that'll give me a good rise for my biscuits. So let's get started. So as I'd mentioned before, I have 2 cups of all-purpose flour in there, and I'm going to put in 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 4 teaspoons of baking powder, not soda, but baking powder, just going to give that a stir. I also have a 1/2 cup of butter that I've shredded on the cheese grater, and then I kept it in the freezer so it's cold. If you don't have a cheese grater, you can just cube it up and use a pastry blender to mix it into your flour, or 2 forks or 2 knives or something, just anything to get the butter blended into the flour. And I don't know if I mentioned, that's about a 1/2 cup. So you want your butter cold because you want to create steam in your oven, which will help give your biscuits a rise. Okay, just like that. So I'm going to add in the ham. Like I mentioned, I diced it fairly small, so that's about a 1/2 cup of ham. And then I have cheddar, and that's a cup of cheddar. If you have chives, you can throw some chives in there. You can also put garlic powder in, whatever you like. The last ingredient that I forgot to mention earlier is buttermilk. I use a cup of buttermilk usually, but I don't have buttermilk today. So instead, I put a tablespoon of white vinegar in a measuring cup and then added enough milk to equal 1 cup. And then I let that sit for about 10 minutes. You don't want to overmix this. You just want to kind of make sure it forms into a ball, and the dough will be sticky. I'm going to be using my baking stone today, and I sprinkle the top with cornmeal. Just gives the bottom of the biscuits a little bit of a crunch, but you can just use a baking pan with parchment on it, or even sprinkle cornmeal in your baking pan too. And usually I cut my biscuits with the biscuit cutter, but today I'm going to make them into drop biscuits. So I'm just going to take that much dough. Just make it easier if you're on your way somewhere or you just don't feel like patting them out. I've got my biscuits portioned out here, and I'm just going to kind of dab the top with some extra buttermilk here. Makes them kind of have a nice golden brown look on the top. Okay, so I'm going to put them in my oven. I have that preheated to 450 degrees, and we'll put them in there for about 15 minutes. While those are baking in the oven, I'm going to get the coffee going, because what are biscuits without coffee? There we have it. Our drop biscuits are nice and golden brown. They'll be fluffy on the inside and full of ham and cheddar, so they'll be great. But what I wanted to say is I put mine in for 17 minutes in total, but ovens vary, so just watch your biscuits at about the anywhere from 12 to 15 minute mark, and when they're golden brown, pull them out. So that's it, the biscuits are done and they're eaten. Well, not all of them, but they were delicious, and now I'm heading off to work. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please consider subscribing, and I'll see you again next time.